Hi, good morning, everyone. We're live on YouTube, and I just thought I would take my presentation today to the world. I've never done this before on YouTube live, so I hope that you enjoy this presentation this morning. One of 5 that I'll be doing over the next few days, all about getting involved in the heritage sector, particularly work around industrial heritage. So we'll be talking about what is industrial heritage, because a lot of people won't know what that is. But let me just start from the beginning and introduce myself. I'm Norma Gregory. I'm a historian and a writer. I enjoy visiting places and learning about things, and especially learning about the past and how Britain and different countries have been shaped by the workforce. So that's really what's brought me to find out a lot about industrial history and industrial heritage. So that's the kind of sector I work in. I work as a consultant now, working with museums and organisations that want to improve and become more inclusive spaces. So that's the work I do now. I'm based in Nottinghamshire, in England, in the UK. So to just start off what I'm actually doing today, I'm introducing a network forum, basically a space for people to share and to talk and to reflect on our shared heritage, our multicultural heritage that we have in Britain, and how we can work towards improving things and making spaces, outdoor spaces or indoor spaces, industrial sites and museums around the UK, how they can become more inclusive. Let's move forward with the slideshow here. So the aim of this diverse industrial heritage network forum is to create a forum, a space to promote diversity and inclusion within industrial heritage. It's a space where everyone is welcome, especially those just beginning, really finding out a bit about history and heritage, and also for those people who are more experienced, who have a little bit more knowledge and skills, or for people already in the industrial history in the museum sector, say. But it's just simply time to talk and a space to talk. So that's all it is. It's nothing more than that. So this network forum, we want to share some of the experiences of working in the industrial heritage sector and heritage sector in general, not just around industry, but I'm going to go on to specifically in industrial heritage in a moment. And we're going to be looking at experiences within equality, diversity and inclusion. The global agenda, that is, obviously it's in Britain, but it's also a global agenda that many countries are also trying to work towards having a better, more inclusive world and space for everybody to be successful. We hope to share some ideas and knowledge, and also look at the problems, some of the challenges people face working in heritage and working in industrial history and diversifying, working, towards diversity, some of the challenges that we face, and how we go about improving and shaping things for the future. I also want to, over the next 5 days, think about how we can forge links with other museums and heritage sites across the UK and across in Europe and Africa and the Caribbean and Asia. So across the world, really, just thinking a little bit more wider. Not just thinking about my local history and local industrial history, but thinking a little bit wider. What are the things we've got in common, and what are the things that we can work together on to improve the preservation and the sharing and enjoyment of industrial history. I want to also think about how we can go about raising funds raising a bit of money, which we do need sometimes to help us make change, but just looking at some of the ways that individuals and organisations in the UK, in the first instance in the UK, really how you can get some funding to help you change things in the workplace, or set up a project that you might be thinking about that will help to preserve cultural heritage or local history. That's something, you know, a burning project that you've had on your mind for years. You might not know how to get it started, so we're going to be looking at some ideas around that. And also developing leadership. You might be, you know, well known or well established in your field, and you might be thinking right now, what do I do? I know all this stuff. What can I do with it now? How can I help other people enjoy history? How can I teach people how to work in a particular area or use a particular skill? So leadership is that kind of helping others. That's what I think leadership is about. It's being able to guide others to get the best out of others. So we're going to be looking at ways of how to develop leadership within the heritage sector, and ways that you can start reading up a little bit more some of the universities and colleges, the courses that are around that that are specifically to do with history and heritage and preserving history. So some of the dates, just go through the dates I am doing this live YouTube chat over the next few days. So obviously today started at 11, finished at 11:45, around that time. Tomorrow starts at 11 till 11:45, and Wednesday the 7th of December 11 till 11:45, and Thursday this week the 8th of December. So 4 days this week. And then next week, on Friday, the 16th of December, 10 o'clock till 10:45 will be my last kind of session of this group of online chats. So please feel free to tune in and listen, and feel free to post any questions or email me, Norma at nottinghamnewscentre.com, with any questions or any queries or anything that you want clarifying, or any help that you might need in your own career to work in the industrial heritage sector. These events are posted on Eventbrite, so please register on Eventbrite if you want to take part in the talks in the future. So just a brief outline now of the programme over the week, the next few days and next week as well, the things that we're going to be talking about. So today really is just an introduction to diversity, what that means, and the heritage sector, how it links, and also looking at what is industrial heritage. So that's the main theme of these 5 workshops. We're going to be talking about how you can become a partner in industrial history. You know, what is your role? What role do you play? You all play a very important role, but just really recognizing your place in the world and how you can also shape history. We're going to be looking at equality law. So this is really around the EDI, Equality, Diversity and Inclusion agenda. The Equality Law, the Equality Act of 2010 is a very important law that helps to shape how legal requirements, everybody's legal requirements to be inclusive and to help others to be able to access services, to access the workplace, to access learning. So it's the key legal act that we have in the UK, and it's an important act that just gives an outline to the 9 protected characteristics that we all need to be aware of, and to kind of make sure that we don't exclude people based on age, race, disability, gender, marital status and so forth. So that's really important. We're going to, like I said, understand what is industrial heritage, and how industrial heritage serves all communities, and the fact that it's all around us. And you'll realize in a moment when I kind of break down the term industrial heritage, where what it encompasses and how far it stretches across the world. And it's a global kind of it's a global theme, I think. So that's today. So tomorrow I'll go into being a practitioner, being a consultant. You might want to think about how you can work in the heritage sector, but specifically relating to industrial history. That's history around mining or history around canals or the railways, steelworks. There's all different parts of industry that is now part of our heritage. So it's that tomorrow's workshop, tomorrow's talk, YouTube live talk, is about finding work as a practitioner and getting paid as well. So making sure if you become a freelancer like I am, just making sure that you understand about getting a contract and how you can go about getting work in the industrial heritage sector. On Wednesday, we're going to be looking at some of the services that you could provide, either as within an organization or as a freelancer, some of the skills and services that's needed to work in the sector, and some of the products you might think about developing as a consultant. So we look at that on Wednesday, the 7th of December, 2022. On Thursday, the last day for this week, we're going to be looking at partnerships, working collaboratively with other people to help preserve histories, because it does take teamwork. It's very difficult to work by yourself in any sector. So we're just going to be talking about the importance of teamwork, of partnership work, and how to be a good team player. Some of the key skills of getting on and working well with museums and professional organizations, because there are kind of tips that you do need to be aware of. So that is on Thursday, the 8th of December, 2022 at 11 o'clock. Friday the 16th, next week, we are going to be looking a little bit more about finding work within the heritage sector, and also working in the media sector as well, because heritage does need the media. I'm talking about television production, radio production, publications, written material, online material. We do work very closely with the media sector in order to share and communicate the stories around in the past, in order to kind of illuminate those stories and to make them accessible, to make them enjoyable and relevant as well. So having had a long career in the media industry myself, within journalism and broadcast media, I wanted to share some of the work that I've done and some of the things that you could think about doing for the future in your own work within heritage. So that's just a brief overview of some of the topics that I'll be covering over the next few days during this Industrial Heritage Network Forum. So today's workshop, very briefly, is all about EDI, heritage, being a partner within the heritage sector. I think everybody does have a place within heritage, within history. We are history makers. We're making history every single day. Even today is a day for history. Today is a historical day. So really what I wanted to just share with you is that I think that everyone has a place in history. Everyone has an important voice, and everyone should help shape history. I don't think it's you can define history, what is important that needs saving and what shouldn't be remembered. I think everyone should have a say in what is history and what needs to be preserved and looked after for the future, for future generations. So I think every single person has a really important role to play in national history and global history as well. As I briefly mentioned before, I did mention about the equality law. So in the UK, there is the Equalities Act 2010, which does outline the legal requirements for every single person to be aware of, to make sure that every single person has the chance to succeed and to live freely and to access services and to enjoy life and to, you know, to reach their full potential. So the Equality Act 2010 does cover the 9 characteristics that are around a race, things that areas where people have been disadvantaged, that people need to be aware of. So those are age, disadvantages around age, around social status, around marital status, around race. So those are some of the characteristics that are legally protected in the UK. So it's a very important law, and it does shape how we are to make sure that everybody has a chance to enjoy. So understanding industrial heritage now. So what constitutes industrial heritage? I think this is important just to go through this. What I'm talking about over the next few days is that industrial heritage is a wide and field. It's a very broad field of work, and it constitutes mainly the material remains of industry. So therefore, I'm talking about industrial sites. So these are sites, places where industry used to happen, where buildings once stood, where buildings still stand, but they might be disused, or they might have changed in some way, but they are of the past. Industrial history could be related to architecture, machinery, equipment, housing, industrial settlements, industrial landscapes, products and processes, and documentation of the industrial society. So we're talking about what people used to do or use in order to produce things. So that's what industry is about. It's about utilizing the land, utilizing equipment, and this involves people, the workforce as well, in order to kind of develop manufacturing or develop products or services. This also includes mining. I've done a lot of work around preserving mining history. So mining comes into industrial heritage in the UK, as mining, deep coal mining finished in the UK in December 2015. So it's now part of heritage. Mining is part of national heritage in the UK. There's ironworks, that's also part of industrial heritage, and water and steam, textile mills, windmills, glassworks, waterworks, potteries, railways, breweries, maltings, the roads, bridges, ports, harbours, gasworks, workers' housing, and much more. So industrial heritage actually covers a very wide spectrum of industry. It's a big area. It's a massive area to work in as well. So it's actually a fantastic area to work in for me as a consultant, working with directly with museums and industrial sites, helping them to become more inclusive spaces through their exhibitions and the way the information is presented. So it's a fantastic area to work in. So it's actually, if you are looking for work, a new type of work that you've never thought about, do think about industrial heritage. Think about, I mean, just if you actually just go out in the area where you live and just look around, you will see industrial heritage all around you. So how can we get involved? I've just mentioned there that, you know, it's a great kind of area to work in if you are looking for work or involved in the sector already. But industrial history can also involve cultures, people's cultures and traditions and costume, memories, community heritage. They all come under industrial heritage. So basically, if you're interviewing a former worker, say at a steel plant, that is heritage. that constitutes as a heritage, their personal stories. So the clothing that people used to wear in the past, doing that kind of work, steel work, for example, that's also as heritage, that comes under heritage. Heritage can be located in parks, as landscapes, in canals, through canals and waterways, and also obviously museums and parks and touring exhibitions. So it's an absolutely fantastic industry to get to know if you don't really know a lot about industrial history. But to me, it's a very important sector, as you know, a lot of the things that we have today is formed through industry. And obviously dating back to the start of the Industrial Revolution, 1750s, 1760s, up until the 1850s, really, 1900s. That really was a kind of a very active time for industry and the production of raw materials that we use today. A lot of it now, a lot of the industries are now still in existence, but incorporate a lot more technology. I think that's a big kind of modern development in history, the use of machines and computers to do a lot of the work that was done before by hand, by people. So just a few pictures here of some of the industrial heritage sites and activities that people used to do and still do in order to share this history and preserve it and conserve it as well. So just to finish up for today, if you want to find out a little bit more about industrial history, or if you want to learn about some of the work that we've been doing here at Nottingham News Centre and the Black Miners Museum, you can visit our YouTube channel for the Black Miners Museum and Nottingham News Centre as well. This is where this chat is being broadcast through YouTube today, but it's for Nottingham News Centre, the work that we've been doing, helping to preserve history over the last 10 years since we have been set up. And actually next year is our 10th year anniversary. So we hope to be doing something really special to share with you. You can visit the blackcoalminers.com website, which has got a lot of information around the history of miners, black miners of African and Caribbean heritage in the UK. So that also constitutes as industrial heritage. There's a lot of information at Museum Detox, which is a group that specifically work with people from diverse groups within the heritage sector. There is the Museum Association, a fantastic organization that has a lot of information, fantastic conferences, workshops, learning programs for professionals working within the heritage sector. There is the Nottingham Industrial Heritage Association, a more local association within the Nottinghamshire area. They do some really fantastic work as well, so please get in touch with them if you wish to find out more. And Arts Funding, a funder of this talk today, one of the supporters of our work, and they do have a lot of information on their website as well. And the Heritage Lottery Fund, who do fabulous work, supporting many thousands of projects that help to preserve heritage in the UK. So if you want to stay in touch, please feel free to email with any questions, and please bring your questions tomorrow to the next YouTube live broadcast that I'll be doing tomorrow about finding work as a consultant within the industrial heritage sector. So that is all. I hope you have enjoyed this broadcast today, and I will see you tomorrow. And please feel free to kind of find out a little bit more about industrial heritage, and please prepare any questions that you may have for tomorrow's session. So thank you, and see you then.